All right, so let's further modify a lot of the shapes here so that we can start to fit things in like these posts and all this other good stuff. So what I want to do is I'm going to select pretty much all of these assets here by hitting W for my selection. And if you click through W a few times up in the left hand corner, you can see there's these different options and I want to select box here. So just tab W until you see select box, highlight all of these. And what I want to do is manipulate all of them at the same time. So I'm going to hit tab and I'm going to go to edit mode. And because I have all of them selected, you can see now I can manipulate all of these different objects at the same time. Let's go ahead and press 1 to go to vertex mode here. And remember, we're not able to get, so for example, if I want to grab all of these verts to pull them out to give me a little bit more scale in the front, notice I'm missing these on this side. So we have to go back to X-ray mode. So I'm going to hit Option or Alt-Z or click this button up here again to toggle X-ray mode. Highlight all of these front ones and just pull them out until I see visually it looks like it could be something like that. Again, there's a little bit more modification that has to take place here. We're going to be constantly refining and tweaking, as I mentioned in the last lecture. All right, so let's go ahead and add two quick posts here. And then I know one is missing here. There's like a little bit of an optical illusion where the post in the corner here should be this one. So let's go ahead and add those. And generally, these other posts that sit on the corners here, you wouldn't necessarily add them now. You would add them after the gray boxing phase. When we enter the modeling phase is when you'd add those in. But for now, let's just go ahead and start to build this out. All right, so I want to go ahead and hit tab and go to object mode here. And then I'm going to hit Shift A again and then go to mesh, and I'm just going to add a cube. And let's hit W here, or Shift space and grab our move tool, or G, bring this out here. Oops. And again, I'm moving between, like, I'm clicking on each one of these arrows. Again, a quicker way might be to hit G and then X, or G and Y, and just kind of shift it where we need it to be. All right, so let's go ahead and scale it out so we've got roughly what a post is supposed to look like. So I'm going to hit S, X, scale that in, S, Y, and scale that in. And then just sort of place it at the edge here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just enough where we can get a representation of what's there. I'm going to hit tab, go to edit mode, and then just, again, Option Z. Make sure I select all of those faces and pull it up like this. Tab. Let's go back to object mode here, and I'm just going to duplicate this. So Shift D, G, and then X, or Y rather, and just pull it all the way over here. So we've got roughly our post. Looks like we need one more on the other side, and that's okay. So what I would suggest, let's for further refinement here, we could add this roof, but there's a whole nother way that we're probably going to end up doing it using something like cards and transparent alphas. But what the next phase is again site sizing. So these both need to be moved out. So I'm holding shift and selecting both of these, going to edit mode here, grabbing both of these and just moving them out. Looks like it was defaulted to X-ray mode. So just tweaking, and it looks like we need 2, 3, 4, essentially fences. So for this stage in the process, you just want to do that with a cube. So let's go back to object mode. All right, so I want to expose you to another tool for creating these fences, and hopefully you're not going to get too upset with me because it would have made a lot of this easier earlier, but I wanted you to get used to, again, learning shapes, language, and playing with things. You can use this button here, which will add a cone, cylinder, cube, so on. So let's say we want to essentially make, I was going to just make these with cubes as placeholders so we could adjust the object, and then, well, let's do that anyway. Let's do it the right way. So let's do add cube here. And what I want to do is roughly where the center of this character is, I just want to drag out one side of the cube here and then just bring that up. You can see that created a cube for us. And then down on the floor here, I'm going to create the second part, which will run just up till this post, because I'm thinking about the stairs will come just this way. So this way will come like this. And now we have essentially our fence. And, so let's go ahead and hit Shift D here. Sorry, let's make sure we're in move mode and then Shift D, escape, and then just shift this over this way. And we'll have this, I'm going to tab into edit mode here. Grab these shapes here and just kind of pull it in like that. And this will be where our stairs come down. If we need to make it bigger, we could shift all of this over. And then what we can do all the way on this side is, again, this is all just gray boxes, so we're just doing representation. Go back to object mode, grab our shift cube tool, and just create the fence that way. And I'm sort of eyeballing it, looking at where it's this way, where it goes. And, I can hit W to go to my selection tool, select each one of these, including these, and just pull them out because it looks like we need a lot more space for it to come out this way. So let's go ahead and do that. Select this guy too, tab edit mode. I'm going to select all these verts, pull this over like that. So we're getting there. It's starting to look pretty good. And same thing here. We don't have enough space up front here. So let's make sure that let's object out, grab this, edit mode, and just grab this front face here. So it comes all the way to the front here. And then what I'd like to do is, it looks like we need a cylinder that goes through all of it like that. So object mode, let's grab our add cube tool, but this time let's do our add cylinder tool. And then just drag out a little cylinder here, go straight up. And then down here where we have add cylinder, it's 32 sides is a little bit too much. Just take it down to maybe 8-sided. You can always tweak it later. We're doing game stuff, so we don't want to go too crazy. And this actually might need to be shifted way out here. This whole deck might need to be pulled back, but for now that's fine. And let's go ahead and do our add cube. Start to put a little fence there. Grab our move tool, Shift D, escape, and then see how there's a red line here? That's our Z axis, G and then Z. Oops. G and then, oh, X axis rather, sorry. I misread that, G and X. Let's space that out. And let's bring it right to the edge here. Like that. And then later we can add the steps going down here into this. And so again, this might need to all come out even more because again, the perspective is a little different from 2D to 3D. All right. I think this is a good place to stop. What I'd like to do, would like you guys to do for your homework is, we've got our gray box going, is I want you to do your best to create the chimney, and let's see, just start to model this out a bit more. I will try to make another video right after this one where we start to enter the modeling phase, but I want you to gray box out like all of the little elements. So for example, where these rocks are, this potted plant. So, tab, edit mode, grab this face, for example, here, pull this out. And then I want you to start doing things like, okay, I could put a cylinder here. That's what this general shape is. And this represents that potted plant. So like this. And then I'll put some cubes here that represent the box. So a cube there. A big cube here that represents that bigger cube. And then it has a smaller cube on top. There's a little cube here. Again, just cylinders and cubes that represent sort of all these little shapes. These need to be shifted. And again, keep training your eye, right? Like, okay, these need to be they don't just line up here, they actually go in front, right? So you're gonna bring this forward. And then this might be a little bit too. So same thing, there's a plant here I missed. That could be a cylinder. So yeah, just go through, start gray boxing everything. Like there's a little piece there. So it's gonna, like all of this furniture on here, just boxes for the cylinder representing this table, a cylinder representing this. Do your best to train your eye to catch all the little details and just put placeholder objects in there that represent it. You don't have to do the doors, you don't have to make the windows yet, or these folding. These you could probably do, but or this. I'll go over how to create that shape when we go into the fine stuff. But maybe you'll put a cube there, that represents this, right? So that tells me I need to move all of this even more out again. So it's quite the journey with just simple shapes. Okay. All right, that's it for this week's lesson. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope the assignment. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with for your assignments.